Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I've got for you a tank review on the Concept 1B, the tier 9 American heavy tank, the ranked reward vehicle that was available a couple of years ago as the annual reward, but now is available in the ranked bond store, and I will explain how to get this tank in a couple of moments. The way this video is going to work, you're going to see the gameplay right now, which is an ace tanker, and that is the reason that this video has been so long in the making, is because I haven't actually aced this tank until relatively recently. This replay was from about a week ago or so, so that's nice, and also I completely forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, the way this video is going to work is you're going to get the Ace Tanker gameplay. I'll then go through into the post-game stats. We'll just run through those very quickly. And then we'll go into the garage. I will explain to you what equipment I recommend, what crew skills I recommend, and what field mods I recommend. And also, as well as that, we'll just do a quick comparison to other vehicles that are kind of similar, probably things like the Conqueror M103, etc, etc. I will try and leave timestamps down in the description of when everything happens, so if you don't want to see the gameplay in particular, then just skip through to wherever it says in the description. So, what is the Concept 1B and how can you get it? So, originally this tank was added into the game as an annual reward for the ranked battle season. Basically, across the 3 seasons that happen in a year, you had to get so many tokens, you got so many tokens, and you unlocked the tank. Now you can get this vehicle through the ranked, I think it's like the ranked shop or something. Basically, the way you do that is any ranked battle season, you get, I think you have to go through qualifying, and then either the 3rd or 1st division, whichever one comes first. I can't actually remember. I think it's 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So you get through the 3rd division. As soon as you've got through the 3rd division and entered the 2nd division, you then unlock the ranked store. Once you're there, you can then buy certain tanks for bonds, like this thing, the KPZ-50T, etc, etc, and you can, you can unlock this thing. This thing is probably the thing I'd recommend most, as I take a shot that I have absolutely no idea where the hell it went. But yeah, basically, this tank is absolutely nuts. It's, in my opinion, I have done a video on it before, I'm pretty sure, but it is a better tank tier for tier than the Chieftain, in my opinion. Obviously, that might not count for a lot for you guys, but in my opinion, it definitely is. And that's because it's similar to the Chieftain in the way that it's got like the trifecta. It's got a good gun, it's got good mobility, and it's got good armor. Probably the main thing that stands out on this thing is the fact that it's got the good armor and the gun is having the good mobility. Something like a Conqueror or most other heavy tanks, that's what usually lets them down. But this thing can go 45 kilometers an hour forwards, which is very, very, very nice. It also has over 20 horsepower per ton, which means even going up hills, it's really, really good as well. You can see the gun as well, very nice, 110mm gun, so kind of a weird caliber of gun, but it does 400 alpha, so compares up to most of the 120mm guns in the game. Standard rounds, APCR, absolutely lovely, really, really nice shell velocity, 1400 meters per second shell velocity. That's like, well, nearly 1500, sorry, 1478? 1478, which is basically the same as like some of the fastest shells in the game, like your 105 APCRs and things along those lines. It also gets heat as your premium round, only 310mm of heat penetration, which I will say is probably one of the drawbacks to this tank, over something say like the T10 that has 340 heat pen, but even then, in saying that, it's really not that bad at all. Like 310 is decent, you can work with that. The gun as well, pretty accurate. Well, I say pretty accurate, it's not inaccurate, it's not like 0.4 or something like that. Base is 0.36, obviously with field mods, crew skills, etc, etc, you can get that down relatively low, and I'll show you that when we jump back into the garage. Decent DPM, I think base is 2,300, but again, add in a load of stuff on that, and it's the fact that it's just a combination of everything, similar to the Chieftain. It's just one of those tanks that absolutely everything is just good on it. It hasn't really got any bad points. So as that, the turret armor really strong, and also a really small turret. Like, it's got a tiny turret. If you've ever faced one of these things in battle, as I'm trying to show you, but I'm currently circling 114, you just can't really pen it if it's hull down, especially 10 degrees gun depression as well. It's very nice. You can play this thing like a Ridgeline Warrior. And you see this Charioteer aiming up at me, trying to see where to pen, and I hate to break it to him, he's just not gonna. He's just not gonna be able to, because this thing's just got such a strong turret. HE rounds decent, 53 pen and 515 average damage, and still got good shell velocity on both the heat and the HE of nearly 1200 meters per second, which is something that is a downside to a lot of other tanks, is the fact that heat rounds do travel so slowly. But on this thing, that is not the case. Like I say, just honestly, nice little high roll there as well to finish him off. 410 damage. Can we pick up a top gun? Can we finish off the UDES 15? I was going to say 15, 16. No, the UDES 16. I'm thinking, yeah, we should be able to. He gets spotted. I go to aim, but the Leo PTA just aims that little bit too quick. But nonetheless, 6.3k damage that we saw. I don't think we fired any blind shots or hit any blind shots. 2,240 blocked and 3,273 assistance. I believe that was kind of split amongst spotting and tracking. And also 5 kills as well, which was enough to get an ace in this vehicle. Oh, get the yawn out. We managed to get through the whole first segment without yawning. I don't know what it is. I always seem to yawn when I'm recording videos. But who knows. Anyway, let's go jump into the post-game stats. And I'll also jump into comparison quickly. Comparing this vehicle to some others similar to it. So, there we go, guys. That was, like I said, an ace tank kit in the Concept 1B. Also, my first mark of excellence in the tank. I haven't played this thing a huge amount. Obviously, the marks are very high on it. It is probably, well, it is probably one of, if not the hardest tanks at tier 9 to mark. But still, kind of nice I got my first mark. I'll probably try and 2-mark it at some point, but that probably won't be anytime soon. But like I said, ace tanker, also got high caliber. Missed out on the top gun there at the end, picking up 5 kills. But 6,300 damage near enough. 3,600 assisted. And a smidge of blocking as well. 1,765 base. Which is a very high base XP game. And it needs to be to try and ace this thing. 27 shots fired. 19 hits. 18 penned. Pretty much everything that hit penned. I can't actually remember the shell that did bounce. No, not off the top of my head. Who knows? This tank doesn't make any kind of bonus credits. It's not like the new tier 9 premiums. It's just a standard like reward vehicle. Just makes standard credits. But yeah, that was the post game. If we just jump into a comparison quickly, I'll just show you the big old pros and cons. So first things first, we've got the Concept 1B on the left, the Conqueror, the MXM 451, and the M103. All four have 400 alpha. And all have good gun depression, kind of relatively mobile for their tier, etc, etc. So they're all fairly good to compare amongst. So first things first, damage, like I said, all 400. Pen, 2508 is pretty much bang in the middle. There's one that's 1mm higher, one that's 1mm lower, and one that's the exact same. So pretty much identical in terms of pen and average damage. I think the M103 gets 340 heat pen. The Conqueror gets 326 APCR. And the MXM 441 gets 315 APCR. So this thing does actually have the weakest premium rounds. However, I would say that the fact that the standard rounds, the shell velocity is so high, is really nice. And the heat has even higher shell velocity than the AP on all of the rest of the tanks in this comparison. So that's kind of nice. As well as that, DPM wise, right pretty much in the middle. Higher than the Conqueror and the M451, lower than the M103, which is, I think, was relatively recently buffed, like within the last couple of years. I mean, to 2,400, which is really nice, but still really nice DPM. If you've played the Conqueror, the Concept 1B is going to feel very comfortable, things like that. Decent ammo capacity at 40 rounds, better than the M103 and the Conqueror. So you've got 16,000 potential damage. The gun handling is actually a little bit worse than the rest of the tanks in this comparison, but by no means is terrible. 2.3 seconds aim time, It's not great. It's not the not as good as the Conqueror, and 0.38 dispersion does kind of suck a little bit. But like I said, when you come into crew skills, stuff like that, and as I'll show you in the garage in a bit, you can actually get it down decently far. And this tank, if it has to sacrifice a bit of gun handling for the rest of the stuff it gains, I would definitely take that 100%. The dispersions do kind of make up for it a little bit. They are almost best in class, other than the Conqueror's moving, and whilst turning the tank is only a little bit better. But yeah, 10 degrees of gun depression, so same as the Conqueror, which is actually better than the M103 and AMX M451. And this is where you're starting to see a lot of red on the right hand side of our comparison here, meaning that the Concept 1B is just a hell of a lot better. And that is because we are now into the mobility. 45 kilometers an hour forwards is 10 kilometers an hour fast, at least, than the Conqueror and M103. And you are also quicker than the Frenchie as well, which is very nice. Reverse is much quicker as well, so if you do peak a ridge and you need to fall back, that is better. And your power to weight is massively better than all of the rest of the tanks in this comparison, even again than the Frenchie or the M103 by over 4 horsepower per ton, which is really nice. Terrain resistances don't really like hinder it that much either. Like, they are slightly worse than the Conqueror, but by no means a huge difference. So that is definitely a flat out advantage on this tank, and probably one of the biggest advantages as well. That, in my opinion, is why the Chieftain is so good, because it is so fast. Otherwise, the S-Conch, you could probably say, is just better, but it's that mobility that turns the tank into an OP monster, pretty much. Turret traverse, same in class, pretty much. Tank traverse is actually quicker, so again, going off the mobility is actually much nicer. Armor, I'll come on to in a second. It does have the lowest hit points, but nah, not by much. If you use hardening, it's going to be slightly better. And also 400 meters view range as well, same as the Conqueror. So yeah, you can't really argue with that there. It's just, you sacrifice a little bit of the gun handling for a similar gun and just flat out better mobility. The armor, if we come on to that, if I open this link up in a new tab, got the 3D model, you can see is fairly good. If we go on live viewer, which is basically, you've got to imagine that this tank is shooting it itself, so 258mm of pen. The hull armor, pretty trash. Lower plate, upper plate, unless you're using all of the gun depression, in which case the upper plate isn't too bad. Your lower plate / hull on flat ground is just gonna pretty much eat everything. You've got this driver's hatch as well, which is kind of like angled. No matter which way you angle, there's always a flat surface on it, which is kind of annoying. However, if you can hide all of that and literally just show your turret, so if I point the gun at the camera like this, they are going to really struggle to pen your turret. Firing a premium, you can actually go through the turret, but I think most people just don't bother, because it's just one of those things where it's like, most people don't shoot at turrets out of principle. If you have got good premium rounds, definitely shoot this thing in the turret. You have got a chance of going through. But other than that, yeah. The armor is good, but it is not the greatest. You probably do sacrifice a little bit on the armor side to gain the mobility, but 100% I would gain that. I would definitely sacrifice that, because the armor isn't really going to keep you in the game. And like in things like the Conqueror, I don't think anybody really massively relies on the armor. The Conqueror probably more than the M103 and the MX M451. So I would probably say this thing's got better armor than the M103, and obviously all of its other benefits just makes it a hell of a lot of a better tank. I would probably say the armor is worse than the Conqueror's, but obviously this thing is much quicker than the Conqueror, which is very, very nice indeed. Side armor, rear armor, nothing to write home about. It is all very, very thin. Fair, the rear armor is 80. I'm sorry, what? I didn't realize it was that. That's actually relatively thick. It's not an auto pen. I mean, it's not going to bounce anything, but it's not an auto pen, so it's not an overmatch. So that's actually pretty good. But yeah, that is the Concept 1B. Just running you through the stats quickly. Let's go jump into the garage, and I'll just go through my preferred setup and what I recommend for field mods and everything like that. Right, so just quickly, guys, I'll try not to keep you too long. Running through crew skills, obviously this thing being a reward vehicle, you can put like your E5 crew in it. or your M5Y, whatever it is. Probably recommend E5 crew, but there we go. So you're probably not going to be slotting crew skills specifically for this tank. However, standard stuff applies. Loader, you want to prioritize probably intuition because APCR heat, brothers in arms, repairs. I've got firefighting, safe stowage as well. On your driver, off-road driving is always good. Clutch braking's not bad, although I'd probably recommend on the driver, I don't know why I've gone clutch braking, I'd probably go smooth ride to be perfectly honest. Again, brothers in arms, repairs, firefighting as well. Gunner, snapshot, deadeye, brothers in arms, repairs, firefighting. And then on the commander, Sixth Sense, because the commander is also the radio operator, situational awareness, because situational awareness actually gives a slight bigger boost than recon does, so go situational awareness first, then recon, and then brothers in arms, repairs, and firefighting. On to the what are they called, field mods. Go left first, which is maintaining speed when crossing all terrain types. You want to go with accuracy rather than aiming speed. You want to go view range over stun duration, because if you actually work it out, the stun duration effects is literally a second or two longer, and at the end of the day, the majority of the time, you're going to be putting your crew back in with a first aid kit anyway, so it really doesn't matter. And then probably when I get there on the last one, I will probably not take either of those, to be perfectly honest, because one, although the aim time would be nice, I don't want to be going 41 kilometers an hour, and then same the other way, although the 49 kilometers an hour is nice. If I had to choose one of the two, it would probably be the extra speed forward, so 49 kilometers an hour, which would be very nice. As I said, guys, you can get the accuracy down to a pretty decent level, 0.32 for me, which is really not that bad. In terms of equipment, I've gone for purple equipment on this tank. I equipped this tank before equipment 2.0. So I've got purple equipment on it. I've gone for a fairly standard setup, which is rammer, vert stabs, vents. I'd probably recommend always rammer, vert stabs. Vents you could probably drop for either hardening or turbo. If you really wanted to have both hardening and turbo, then obviously drops vert stabs. But I probably wouldn't recommend that. I'd probably say, out of anything, genuinely actually couldn't tell you what is the boosted slot on this tank. If I were to select a slot, mobility or firepower. Ooh. So if I wasn't using purple equipment, I would probably go rammer. If you haven't got bond or bounty rammer, I'd probably say rammer and get the firepower slots. You've got rammer and firepower. I then probably go hardening in survivability and then vert stabs. Or if you have got like a bounty rammer or something, I'd probably say bounty rammer or bond rammer is probably best. Then you could go turbo mobility slot, hardening in survivability slot, or switch out whichever of the two of those you want for vert stabs. That would probably be my recommendation. And yeah, there we go. That's all she wrote for this tank. I hope you have enjoyed, guys, or I hope you found it useful in any way, shape or form. If you are new to my channel, then please consider subscribing. We are getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, so hopefully we can hit that at some point in the next couple of months. That'd be really good. If you haven't done so before, then make sure you also go over and check out my stream, twitch.tv/msimpson54. The link will be in the description of any of my videos. The majority of games of World of Tanks I play these days are played live over on my stream, so if you want to catch the content first, that's probably the best place to do it. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys. Hopefully, I'll get back to uploading a bit more regularly, but it is summer, which is a bit more tricky for me. It is the busier time at work, everything like that, and I do prioritise streaming, quite honestly, just because it's a bit easier. It takes a bit less time for more content. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.